Chapter 1. The Burden of the Spotlight. The backstage area was a whirlwind of frantic energy, glowing under the dim, colorful lights of the theater. Tonight was supposed to be a triumph, a gold record celebration, but beneath the surface, a subtle tension brewed. The crowd outside was roaring, their voices blending into a tidal wave of adoration. David Colton, the man of the hour, paced the dressing room. He was a rock idol, a man whose face adorned 1,000,000 bedroom walls, yet in this moment, he looked entirely human, gripped by a quiet panic. "They're going to find us soon," his manager, Gil Turner, said, his voice laced with an urgent rhythm. Gil was a man who lived and breathed the business of fame, always pushing for the next big hit. "Tell me, where are you hiding? Where are you hiding your talent tonight, David?" A stagehand squeezed past, carrying a guitar case. "Here you go, star," the young man said with a wide, innocent grin. Glenda, David's close confidant and steady presence in the chaotic world of rock and roll, noticed the heavy look in David's eyes. "He is afraid," she murmured softly, stepping forward to guide him to a chair. "Let me help you. Sit for a minute, David." Gil scoffed lightly, though not without affection. "If I do that and I am out of a job and you're going to be out of an aisle too. Are you heading up front tonight, Glenda? You look great." It was a beautiful show. David ran a hand through his carefully styled hair, sighing. "Well, I just give the folks what they crave, man. You know, those theatrics, those get them every time." "Yeah, the performance was fine, but—" Gil started, his tone shifting back to business. All right, David interrupted, holding up a hand. "Hey, come on," Gil pressed, leaning against the vanity table. "This is supposed to be a tryout time for new materials, right? Only you did not write any. Now, the new album is supposed to be delivered in 2 weeks. We have got to get into that studio." David managed a tired smile, putting on his best charming facade. "We will, old buddy. We will." "When?" Gil asked, folding his arms. "This gig is almost over now. We have run out of excuses." "He is right, David," Glenda chimed in gently. "Everybody is waiting for your new materials, honey. Well, listen to the voice of the public. You have got a position to maintain. Now, what keeps you on top? It is as much what you write as what you do." David threw his hands up in mock surrender, letting a playful, albeit weary, laugh escape. "All right already. I can see that my public has prevailed. Amen. You want new songs? You will get them. But hey, the kid has got to be left alone, man. Just me and my creative juices. You dig where I am coming from?" Gil chuckled, clapping David on the shoulder. Yeah. Okay, out. Come on. You too, Glenda. Go find someplace else. Come on. Move. Let the genius work." As the room cleared, the smile on David's face faded, replaced by a deep, hollow exhaustion. He was a king sitting on a borrowed throne. Later that night, far from the screaming fans and the flashing cameras, David found himself in a quiet, modest apartment across town. Sitting at a piano was Raymond Walding, a young, brilliant musician whose classical background had somehow beautifully collided with the modern rock idiom. Raymond was playing a new melody, his fingers dancing effortlessly across the keys. The music was vibrant, full of life and an undeniable, raw emotion. "Fantastic, man," David whispered, genuinely in awe. "This is really me." Raymond stopped playing and looked up, his eyes bright with the thrill of creation. "How many of these songs have you done, David?" "I have quite a few here." David looked at the scattered sheet music, a treasure trove of undeniable hits. "Oh, there is an album there, I guess. Now look at all these." "Man, you should have told me, Ray. You should have called me." "I had other things on my mind," Raymond replied with a modest shrug. "Oh, well, it does not matter, buddy, as long as we are in business," David said, his businessman persona taking over. "Listen, I will take all these home and go over the rest of them there. I will bring you back some money tomorrow." "No," Raymond said softly but firmly. David blinked, caught off guard. "What do you mean, no? You always get paid for what you do. Now listen, if you do not think what you have been getting is enough." David, I do not want more money, Raymond interrupted, his voice steady. I want credit. I want my name on my music. David let out a nervous laugh, pacing the small room. You are kidding, right? It has got to be a joke. No, Raymond insisted. It is time for me to be known for what I do. David stopped pacing and looked at the young composer, panic rising in his chest. Hey, do you know what that will do to me? Listen, so you give me credit for this one album, nobody is going to know about the past. Man, I give you credit for one album, and they're going to put your signature on everything that I have done, David pleaded, his voice trembling slightly. It is going to destroy me, man. Cannot you understand that? Raymond shook his head slowly. Listen, now I have made up my mind. That is it. That is it. Now get yourself some coffee, and we will work out the details. It will be a lot better. We can be a team, David. I mean it. I have a lot of ideas where we can go with this stuff. Will you please tell me what you think at least? David slumped into a chair, rubbing his temples. I do not feel so good. I think I am going to sit down. I do not know what is the matter with me. Raymond looked at him, a wave of empathy washing over him. Hey, listen, come on. I do not know what you want. You want me to say, I am sorry? Is that what you want? That is what I want, Ray, David murmured, his voice barely a whisper. Only one dude can be known for David Colton's music. Sorry, old buddy. Chapter 2. A Grandfatherly Pursuit of Truth. The morning sun cast a warm, golden glow over the quiet suburban neighborhood. Inside a neat, well-kept living room, Barnaby Jones sat across from Mrs. Walding. Barnaby was a man of dignified years, with a gentle smile, silver hair, and a mind as sharp as a steel trap. He had a comforting presence, the kind that made people want to pour their hearts out over a good cup of tea or, in Barnaby's case, a tall glass of cold milk. Mrs. Walding was a woman of elegance, though grief had currently painted shadows beneath her eyes. Her husband sat beside her, looking equally lost. Raymond could not have taken drugs, Mr. Jones, Mrs. Walding said, her voice shaking but resolute. He would not. Barnaby leaned forward, his tone sympathetic and respectful. Excuse me, Mrs. Walding, but did not the police find that your son died of an accidental overdose of narcotics? They were mistaken, she replied instantly. They did not know Raymond. Barnaby nodded slowly. Mrs. Walding, every mother feels that she knows her own boy. Mr. Jones, I am a musician too, she explained, her hands clasped tightly together. A violinist good enough to be a concertmaster, but not good enough to have done all that Raymond did. It was my dream to see him become truly important in music. I pushed him, made him turn to composition, but he was no longer interested in the traditional forms. He liked popular music. We fought constantly about it. She paused, taking a shaky breath. When I went to see Raymond about 3 weeks ago, it was for the first time in months. What did you go to see him about? Barnaby asked gently. I had a possible commission for him, a chance for a concert, but he turned me down flat. He said he was too busy. I drove Raymond away, Mr. Jones. But please, you must prove my husband and the police are wrong. Raymond had everything to live for. He had his music to look forward to, and a lovely young lady. Why would he take to drugs? Barnaby looked at the grieving mother, his heart going out to her. He recognized the profound love and the desperate need for truth in her eyes. That is a question that ought to be answered, Mrs. Walding, Barnaby said, his voice carrying a reassuring warmth. I will do everything I can to find that answer for you. He sounds like a remarkable young man. Across town, a different kind of drama was unfolding at David Colton's luxurious estate. Glenda was standing outside the heavy iron gates, ringing the buzzer repeatedly. You are in there, Glenda muttered to herself. What? Have you been camping out here for 3 days? He is not answering the phone or the door. David. Eventually, the gate buzzed open, not for Glenda, but for Gil Turner, who had just pulled up in his sleek convertible. Glenda slipped in behind him, rushing up to the front door. Inside, they found David looking disheveled, sitting at his grand piano with a stack of sheet music. David, what are you doing? Glenda asked, her voice laced with worry and a hint of hurt. "Why did you open the gate for Gil, and not for me? You were trying to avoid me, were you not? You wanted me to go away." Gil walked in, rubbing his hands together. "Notice the great trust one inspire. When you start living up to your responsibilities, David, people will trust you. Now, you cannot shut yourself off like this. The record company people have been after me." David smirked, tapping the sheet music. "Hey, the record company people are about to remember how come they love me so much. Here, take a look." Gil picked up the top sheet, his eyes scanning the notes and lyrics. A slow, triumphant smile spread across his face. "This is good. Yeah, that is really good. Came from a man's soul." "Yeah, but 3 days," David said, leaning back. "And you come through. You are a genius." "Hey, you get 40% of greatness, Gil, you know that?" David chuckled. "I go without sleep. You get rich. Who gets you the chance to display that greatness?" Gil countered with a laugh. "Grinding out all those deals over lunch with the wine." "Oh, David, you are exhausted. You need a little rest. A little relaxation, companionship." Glenda stepped closer, her eyes softening. "David, forgive me. I came by here that night to see if you had changed your mind about being alone, and you were not here. I am sorry. That night you were not here." David looked away, his expression tightening. "Glenda, no one has ever given you any rights to me. Now, whether I went for a drive to clear up my head is not something that you have got to know." "Please, David," she whispered. "Cleared up my head," David repeated firmly. "I just cleared up my head." Chapter 3. The Unlikely Connection. Barnaby Jones found himself sitting on a quiet university campus, speaking with a bright-eyed young woman named Paula. She had a gentle demeanor and a smile that, though currently tinged with sadness, revealed a deep well of kindness. "Well, Paula, this is very impressive," Barnaby said, looking around the music building. "How long had you known Ray?" "Ray and I were just starting, Mr. Jones," Paula replied softly. "He was rather shy with people. I was his first girl, and only then because I had contacted him to ask if he would speak to a graduate music class I was in." Barnaby nodded thoughtfully. Police reports said they found substances in Ray's system, but no